global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Global Happenings Today YouTube channel. A lot is happening behind the scene, and as we are gradually approaching the 2023 general elections, a lot of Nigerians are beginning to warn topmost politicians and Nigerians of repute are beginning to warn Nigerians on what to do to get it right. The likes of a former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, are warning Nigerians not to do this and also warning them about the dangers ahead. In fact, he gives them warning about not lowering our guards. He said a lot of things based on information available to him. Then, of course, top politicians have also warned Nigerian youth not to repeat what happened in 2015 and how to safeguard what needs to be done. The question is, what happened in 2015 that Nigerian youth did? We'll find out in a moment. But before we do that, kindly subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button beside it. You see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Well, according to the news, the former president Goodluck Jonathan has said Nigeria is moving towards dictatorship as the signs are glaring. The former president stated this at the birthday ceremony of Bishop Hossan Kuka held at Sheraton Hotel in Abuja. Speaking on the term of the event, Nigerians' unfinished greatness, next steps, Jonathan urged Nigerians to remain vigilant and united to choose leaders that will lead the nation to the promised land. He said, and I quote him, "The task before all of us is not to lower our guard, lest the democracy we cherish today succumbs to threats and recites into fascism tomorrow, and there are signs already. Looking at the states and so on, we are derailing towards quasi-fascist form of government, but democracy is not only about winning elections alone. It is about accommodation. We as leaders at the center and at the state level, especially at this time when elections are coming, must accommodate different views." Jonathan urged the youth that have registered for the 2023 elections to endeavor to walk their talk by making sure they vote on election day. Dignitaries at the occasions were presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress APC Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his running mate Senator Kashim Shettima, Governor of Ekiti State Kayode Fayemi, Governor of Plateau State Simon Lalong, and Secretary to the Government of the Federation Boss Mustafa. Others were Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, Governor Udom Emmanuel of Akwa Ibom State, former Governor of Imo State Emeka Ihedioha, and former Governor of Bayelsa State Sariki Dixon. Wow. But then, of course, one of the prominent Nigerians have also said to warn Nigeria not to go in line with what happened in 2015. That's Dalong. Solomon Dalong has urged Nigerian youth to avoid the same mistake they made in 2015 by making sure that they do not support the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, the same way that they blindly supported Buhari in 2015 presidential election of Nigeria. Dalong was the Minister of Youth and Sport between 2015 and 2019. According to Dalong, Nigerian youth blindly supported Buhari in 2015 without engaging him well enough to know the plans he had for Nigeria and how he wanted to execute these plans. Dalong went on to say that in 2023, the youth are blindly supporting Peter Obi without engaging him well enough to know the plans he has for the country and how he wants to achieve all these plans. Dalong stated that in 2015, anyone who tried to engage Buhari was harshly attacked by the youth. Dalong went on to say that in 2022, the youth are supporting Peter Obi and equally attacking anyone who tries to oppose Peter Obi. Dalong said that he holds nothing against Peter Obi. However, he strongly believes that Peter Obi should be engaged by Nigerian youth so that he can disclose what he intends to do for Nigerians if he wins the 2023 election. Dalong also stated that the youth must also find out how Peter Obi intends to actualize all his plans for Nigerians. Dalong stated that Nigerian youth must not repeat the same mistake they made in 2015 by blindly supporting Peter Obi. Okay, but let's start with what Dalong said. I like this type. Let's table out about 18 presidential candidates. Yes, let's table out all of them. With due respect to all presidential candidates who have, indicated interest and have also become flag bearer of the various parties available, how many have been more engaging as Peter Obi? I can categorically say none. I can categorically, as in with a great amount of fairness, without being biased. I think the only time the likes of atiku Abubakar, who happens to be Peter Obi, is the only person who have been granting series of interviews, telling Nigerians, enlightening Nigerian youth exactly what the plans he has, how Nigeria have come from decadence, and how he intends to change the narrative, and what he needs to do, the diversification. The likes of atiku Abubakar, I think it's only about twice he did the interview. The first one, not even an interview, the first one was the NBA conference, which he spoke, and the interview he granted with our rights in his own time, and a lot of Nigerians believe that it's not live. Peter Obi grants live interview. Now, when you want to compare Peter Obi with what happened in 2015, there is no correlation. In fact, if you want to look at it, 2015 election, if you want to go by it, with due respect to all presidential candidates, looks more like Asiwaju. Where during the time of elections, during the time of campaigning, most often than not, the President Muhammadu Buhari, the then contesting president, was evasive. More often than not, Nigerians kept on hearing more from Yemi Osibanjo, the vice presidential candidate, who was granting more of the interview. When they had a presidential debate, it turned out to be a vice presidential debate because the president was never available for any debate of any sort. Okay, so more often than not, we didn't really get to know the plans and the positive plans that the president had for Nigeria. So we just voted him blindly based on what Osibanjo, who happened to be the vice president, who may not even be in the position to actualize some of those promises he made, which is quite understandable because he's the vice president. So it would have been better if Nigerians had heard from Buhari, President Muhammadu Buhari himself directly. Maybe we would have known what to do then. But now you're telling Nigerians not to be wary of Peter Obi. Peter Obi, who have been very available, who have been granting live interviews, we can give nameless and countless interviews. In fact, it's about to have one come the 6th of September with CNN. How many of our presidential aspirants have actually gone that far? Peter Obi made himself available to anyone who cares to listen. He's on live or social media platforms, asking questions, he answers directly. Come on. Asiwaju has been very evasive. The NBA that took place, the NBA conference that took place, Asiwaju was one of the few candidates that didn't come. It took place right there in Lagos, but Shettima had to represent him. Shettima was the only vice presidential candidate that came. So if you're looking at somebody who attend in proxy, then it sounds more like Asiwaju, which is still the same APC we're talking about. So to speak, I think the youths are woke, the youths are aware, and the youth don't want to repeat the same mistake. That's why they are engaging. And the only person that has really been available for the youth engagement has always been Peter Obi. And hence, the youth do not want to repeat the same mistake in 2015. So yes, we are on track. We know exactly what we're looking for. Let's go wrap it up. You may have a different contrary opinion. What do you think?